Okay. So I'm still waiting. Yay. I think we are now streaming live on YouTube. All right. Okay, it's just about 1 minute before 7, and we can go ahead and get started though. So, welcome everybody to Shypanther and Friends. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020, and we're here. We're here live on YouTube, and I have tonight with me Jamil Warren, and he is the CEO of Vital Care Life Insurance Company, all the way from Pensacola, Florida. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Gail. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Just fine. I know your weather is like so much better than ours.
Really? How is it there?
I think it's like 50 something
Oh
today.
no, it's a
Yeah,
beautiful day in Florida.
I know it is. And then you all, I know you all most of the time you have sunshine. It's been hot actually in
Yes,
Florida, like 90s and stuff like that.
yes. But our weather, I like to call it bipolar weather because it can be very nice and then it can be storm and raining the next minute. So you just
Oh,
don't know.
yeah. But since it's warm, I think that, that's all right.
Yes,
Huh?
I take it.
Yeah, because in Chicago, we barely get a summer. And so, and then we all suffering through this pandemic. We all have to deal with it in one way or another. So I always ask that we all just remember to keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers and pray to God that we get past this as soon as possible. You
Yes.
know? Yeah.
hmm It's.
So uh,
I said it's serious. It's very serious.
absolutely, very much so. So I'm gonna give listeners, viewers, a little bit about information about my show, and we were originally on radio, and we never really did the live video show. So this is new, and I actually like it, and probably I'll keep it up even after all of this is over, and we can get out and run around, do whatever we want to do. So we had normally been going on to Q4 AM 1680, and that's located right here in Chicago. But right now we're on YouTube Live, and we're normally here on Thursdays. But I'm trying to add like a couple more days and times so that I can fit in more people and increase the viewership. So that's
Awesome.
what we're doing. Yeah. So and the show is independent. We're an independent media organization, and we are produced by Shypanther Media, and our mission is to uplift, educate, empower, and inspire. And we do that by providing quality programming such as what you're going to see tonight. So I invited Jamil Warren on to talk a lot about insurance and a lot of the things that we don't know about. And most of it is the types of insurance that would be beneficial for us. And I don't want to say like at what ages that we should buy particular things, and um, and just like for me, I originally sought you out when I was looking for insurance in retirement, going into retirement, because I don't know what I was thinking. I thought that my insurance could go with me, and I was stunned to find out that's not true. So, I mean, I could have like had bought extra policies long before now, and that was just not in my frame of mind. So, so what where would you where do you want to start to tell us about it? I mean, we could
Yeah,
jump.
I would like to piggyback off of what you just mentioned because that is something that is so normal. It's not good, but it's sad to hear those stories. And I'm happy that you did make mention that you dealt with that situation. You found out after you was getting ready to retire, because people
Right.
hear me talk about this a lot, but it's very good for them to actually hear from someone that said, "Hey, that was me. I was at retirement's door. I was signing papers, and I found out." At the life insurance that I had been paying for. How long were you at that job?
Ooh, 20 years.
See, 20,
20.
20 years of paying for premiums for something that you had to basically get a new policy when you came to me and start fresh.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Yeah. And
Had you
that,
taken
oh,
something?
and that's on me because I didn't educate myself. So,
Yes, yes. But had you taken something out 20 years ago, you would have been able to have a much larger policy at a much cheaper premium. Had you
right.
known that. Because when you have life insurance through your job, it's very important that people know that the employer is the policy owner and you're just a certificate holder. So you're covered under a group plan and your coverage lasts as long as you're working there. So, like what you said, it can be someone that's on the job for 2 years or 20 years. It doesn't matter when you leave, you cannot take it with you.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I found I had like a lot of hard truths hit me at the point that I was sitting down to discuss when I would leave and what I would be bringing with me. And yes, to me it was really hard to take that I had to pay so much for premium that I mean for coverage that where I expected to get a whole lot more for what I have to pay. But everything goes into account, like your age and any, I guess, whatever medical, prior medical or whatever, or
Correct.
your habits like smoking, drinking, all of that goes into account. So
Yes, all of that plays a part in it. From smoking to your health, the medications that you're taking, and even your bill chart, your height and weight plays a big part in that. It can either get you approved standard or it can get you rated higher, meaning that, of course, you won't have the same premium as someone that's your age. You'll have something, you'll pay more than them because of your bill chart. Or it can, if it's too bad, you can even get denied for coverage.
wow. So you said your height and weight. So that I guess they're considering, are you are you within your certain ranges to be healthy, considered healthy?
Yes, and of course, it doesn't have to be exactly what they say it's supposed to be because no one is really the weight
We're
that they
not
say.
perfect.
Yes, yes. No one is really the weight that they say that we should be, but it cannot be ridiculous. Like you cannot be 5'5" and 300 pounds. Those type of things there, because the way that the carriers look at it, they will prefer to take a chance on someone that has diabetes that's controlled than someone that bill chart is real bad because they look at if you're that big, you can have an heart attack and die instantly.
Wow.
But
So yeah, because I mean, I have like when I talk to some people, they sort of feel like, well, if you have diabetes or if you have anything in your background, that the chances are you will be denied. So,
yes,
but you guys are important as long as it's controlled. And so, um, so are they asking for proof of anything as far as making you take a physical or?
yeah. So this is what happens. It's all client specific. So they do a prescription check. They a lot of times they're looking to see have you been hospitalized a lot in the last 2 years, and of course that'll let them know whether your diabetes or high blood pressure is controlled. Because if
Okay.
you've been hospitalized a lot, then typically, well, it shows that it's not controlled because you're in and out of the hospital because of that reason. But yes, they definitely consult with your doctors depending on your file. So that's why I say that it's client specific because I get a lot of people covered that is type 2 diabetic. They have high blood pressure and they have diabetes. They're doing the insulin and the oral medication. And they come to me because they do express that they have went to other companies that have turned them down. And
Wow.
happy to say that I get people covered like that all the time. So if you've been hospitalized a lot, that can propose a problem. That can make them want to do a medical exam. Sometimes they don't even have to do a medical exam. They just go ahead and approve it because they can tell on your prescription check and your doctor history because we have to put your primary doctor on file as well. If you go
Oh,
with a fully underwritten policy, we're going to talk about the difference between fully underwritten and guaranteed issue. So if
okay.
you go with a fully underwritten policy, then your primary doctor has to go on file. Sometimes some people don't have a primary doctor, so we just have to put none there. And that's going to be at the underwriter's discretion, whether they're going to take a chance and approve you or they're going to say, hey, we need to do a medical exam. on that person. I find it you don't deal with a lot of medical exams if the client is honest. That's why I push to
Mm,
all of my clients. I'm
okay.
here to help you. I'm here to provide a service, and I want you to be able to get the best life insurance, the proper insurance at your budget because affordability is number one. But the
Okay.
way that we can set this up is I need you to let me know all the medicines that you're being prescribed because if we don't put those down, or if you're dealing with something and you tell me no, they can see that once we submit it to the underwriter. So that can definitely lead to you having to do a medical exam. So for an example, if
Okay.
you have high blood pressure and you tell me, no, I don't have high blood pressure, well, I'm going to put no on your application. And when the underwriters look at it, they're going to see, well, Mr. Warren, this client is taking high blood pressure medicine. We see that they're being prescribed this. And depending on the underwriter, some of them are nice and they say, hey, call the client back and re-question them, give them another chance to confess to this. Or you have some of them that say, well, since they just blatantly lied, no, make them do a medical exam so we can definitely know what's going on with them because we don't trust their judgment.
Wow. Well, okay. When you said fully underwritten, uh,
Hmm.
what fully underwritten as opposed to what?
Guaranteed issue. Yes. So fully under
Standard issue?
guaranteed issue insurance.
Okay.
Yes. So fully underwritten is a life insurance policy that once you approve for it, once you apply and you approve, you're covered immediately. It doesn't matter if something happens to you that day or the day after. Now I have to say this since we're on the video. It doesn't matter what company it is. Every by law, every company has a 2 year contestability period. That means that the company have 2 years to contest the policy if something happens to you to make sure that you did not lie on your application. For an
Okay.
example, let's say if the underwriters didn't catch it and they approved you and you say that you didn't have no heart problem, right? And let's say they approved you because they didn't really do their due diligence and check. But a month later you die in heart attack. Well, if they pull your doctor's note and history when they contest the policy, if they see that you was dealing with a lot of heart problems before approving you, then they can contest that. So I definitely just want to put that out there. That's why it's very important that you be honest on your application. So fully
Okay.
underwritten. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You was going to ask me something.
So, I was going to say, so who's eligible to get the guaranteed issue? Who like in particular ages or
Yes, yes. So I'm finna
oh,
get to guarantee. I'm finna get to guarantee issue in a
I'm
minute.
jumping ahead. Okay.
So, so fully underwritten. Long story short, is a life insurance policy that once you're approved for it, you're covered immediately. You don't have to worry about a waiting period. Okay, that would be fully underwritten. On the
Okay.
other side, they have guaranteed issue life insurance policies. Some people may know them as final expense life insurance plans.
You
Those
call what is
plans,
it again?
some people may refer to them as final expense life insurance.
Oh,
Yes, but it's the same thing. Guaranteed issue and final expense is the same thing.
okay.
Those plans are designed for people that have health issues that
Oh,
cannot get approved for the fully underwritten life insurance policy.
okay.
So if you deal, let's say if you've been diagnosed with cancer, or you in and out of the hospital a lot because of your health,
Mm,
or well, let's just say even some people because they made the HIV probably turned into AIDS, things
mhm,
of that nature. You know, very terminal things, depending on the situation. If
uh-huh.
it's real bad, even the bill chart. Let's say you don't have a lot of medications that you're taking, but let's just say you're extremely overweight, then you would not be able to get approved for a fully underwritten policy. You'll have to go with a guaranteed issue policy. Typically, the guaranteed issue policies ranges from age 50 to 85.
Okay.
From 50 to 85. Now you have some companies that will cover you um, from a child all the way up. But however, if you fall under the age of 50, you won't be able to get no more than $10,000 in cover.
Oh, oh, you said if you're under 50.
Yes.
Okay, so this probably wouldn't be the ideal policy for that person. anyway.
Yes, well, a lot of times they don't have a choice because you have to keep in mind that guaranteed issue are for people they know that you can't get approved for the regular, fully underwritten life insurance policy. So the
Okay.
only last option that you have is to go with a guaranteed issue policy.
Okay. Wow.
So when
Wow.
you think about seniors, a lot of seniors that have life insurance, those are the type of policies they have to get because they probably on a list of medications. They're probably in and out the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and a fully underwritten company is just not going to trust approving them and saying that, hey, we're going to pay your family this X, Y, and Z amount of money if something happens to you tomorrow, because according to your health, you already have failing health.
Wow. That's interesting. Um, I didn't know this at all. I really didn't. I didn't know that the guaranteed issue like existed, period. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a conversation here. People just believing that they can't get covered
Yeah.
and for any reason.
Mhm.
So, all right.
I
Wow.
want to
Okay.
say
This
this
is
too.
great information.
I want to say this. Guaranteed issue. A lot of people, when they see this, they're probably, a lot of them, if they know anything about life insurance, I'm certain they probably have heard of this. Guaranteed issue, those are the policies that also have a 2 year waiting period. They have a 2 year
Oh.
waiting period because they are guaranteed for you to get it. You don't have to worry about doing a medical exam. It doesn't require all of that information that a fully underwritten policy requires. You don't have to worry about medications or any of that. It's just simply your name, social, and address. It's just as simple as that. They have a 2 year waiting period because they know that your health is not good. So you have to live 2 years. You have to have that policy in force for 2 years in order for it to pay out. However,
Mm-hmm.
if something were to happen within that 2 year time, your beneficiary will be refunded back all of your premiums plus 10% interest. So you don't lose anything at all. I just definitely want to make sure I put that out
Okay. Now the last part you said, all right, I just want to repeat. You said 2 year waiting period, meaning your coverage uh, depends on you stay healthy for those 2 years. Is that,
there.
is
You have
that
to
what you
stay
said?
alive.
Okay.
You
Oh,
have to
stay alive.
live that 2 year period.
Okay. So if somebody passes away, say a year and a half into the 2 years.
Yes. Then the policy amount that you chose, let's say if you got a $25,000 policy and you
Mhm.
didn't live 2 years, if you have to live 2 years in order for it to pay out the 25,000. However, if something happens within that time frame, then your family members just would receive all of your money that you have paid plus 10% interest.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, I see what you mean. So it's not like, well, you paid into this policy and you got nothing.
Yes,
You at least get what you paid into it.
yes.
Wow. This is very interesting. So is this are these two types of policies that your company um is it standard issue with your company, or is it just like more than likely every insurance company can offer these two types of policies?
Yes, I definitely offer it all when it comes to life insurance. You do have a lot of companies that offer guaranteed issue, and you have some that don't. Because you have a lot of companies, they specialize in their own little packages. Some of
Okay.
them they don't deal with guaranteed issue. Some of them they only do fully underwritten, or you may have some companies they only do guaranteed issue policies.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. So wow, this is so interesting to me. Um um so generally these types of policies, of course, is like anything else. It depends on the amount of coverage that you want as far as the rates and everything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with the size of the policy you want and your age.
Okay. Okay. Age and all right. So now the types of insurance, what would you recommend, say, 20 something year old just starting out, single, no kids, as opposed to somebody, say, 27, they're married, they have a house, they have two kids. Um, And when I mentioned the family, I'm thinking about those policies that can build like cash value and that you could use for other things, rather than just death benefit or
Yes,
something.
yes. Even though they're young, I definitely would recommend them getting a permanent policy and not a term policy. The reason being is because you're only going to be young once. And why take advantage of those years and wait till you get older and have to start paying more money for life insurance? So there's a few reasons why I say that I would recommend. I'm not biased to any product because again, I offer it all.
Okay.
So, but if we're dealing with someone young and they say, "Hey, I want to go ahead and put my life insurance in place," as a matter of fact, I just had this happen with an actress because, of course, she don't work a job, so there is no retirement set up for people that's in that particular occupation. They have to set it up on their own. I would
Right.
definitely recommend a traditional whole life policy or an IUL policy. The reason why is because it's permanent. You don't have to worry about it expiring 20 or 30 years from now. The second reason is because it builds cash value. So not only you just paying for life insurance, you also have a savings component that comes with that particular policy as well. And the last reason is because it comes with living benefits. Now, living benefits is if you were to ever have a terminal, chronic, or critical illness while having that policy in force, then your death benefit will turn into a living benefit and can start paying out to you while you're alive.
Wait a minute. Wait. Say it again. You
Yeah,
said
yeah.
now these are with the whole life and the IU. Now, when you say IUL, what is that?
That's an index universal life insurance policy.
Okay. Um, and you said, okay, these are permanent policies, so
Expired.
they never expire, and there's cash value, which means there's savings attached to it. But you said if you become disabled or sick, then
Yes.
the living benefit portion.
Yes, and again, we're talking about someone young, and even if you're not young, people that are older, they get them all the time. You just have to keep in mind you cannot already have a terminal illness
I get it.
because if you have a terminal illness, they're going to take that portion away, and they may give you the chronic and critical, but you won't be able to get the terminal part if you feel where I'm coming from. Okay,
Okay.
so the living benefits again is that if you was to ever have a terminal, chronic, or critical illness while having your policy in force, then you will be able to file a claim on your policy. And let's just say if your policy is $50,000, that $50,000 can turn into a living benefit, and the insurance company will start paying you out while you're alive.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And I recommend this to any young person, really. Start early, and who knows what, I mean, you can do so many things. And I mean, I won't jump ahead. We'll get to it. Um, Now, this is, you said the whole life and index, universal life. Okay. Um, okay. Now, with these policies, do you have like certain criteria as far as when you buy them? Is there the same thing, some type of waiting period before you're actually covered or
No,
nothing?
those are fully underwritten life insurance policies.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there is no waiting period with those. Only waiting period are guaranteed issue policies.
Okay. Now, what is term life? What is that?
Yes. So when you hear term, you just want to think temporary, okay? Because depending upon your age, no matter what your age is, the longest term policy that anyone can qualify for is a 30-year term policy.
Okay.
But once you hit 50, there is no more 30 years. It knocks 10 years off. So if you're in your 50s, you only can get a 20-year term policy, being the longest one that you can qualify for.
Okay.
So if you're under 50, you can get a 30-year term policy. They don't go past 30 years. It doesn't matter if you're 20. The longest one you can get is 30 years. They start knocking down as you start getting older. That's why you definitely want to try to put it in force as soon as possible. Because again, even if you're in your 60s, then now you can't even get a 20-year term. You only can get a 15-year term. So that
Wow.
this simply means you have a life insurance policy that is good for that time frame. It's just as simple as that. If you outlive the policy, then you will have to get a new policy at that age. So if you're 20 years, if you get a 20-year term policy, if you're alive 20 years from now, you will have to undergo underwriting again.
Hmm.
Your health is considered, your age is considered because now your premiums are going to be more higher because you're 20 years older.
Wow. Okay, so who would more most likely, who's your client who buys these term policies
Yes.
more than likely?
Yeah, so you have a lot of parents that get them for their children because they say, "Hey, I just want to get this for them," and this is good enough until they get grown. Well, a lot of times they already grown. They're probably in their 20s, and they say, "Hey, I want to go ahead and get this established," and give them time to be able to get working and get on their feet and be able to establish their own life insurance policy. So you have a lot of parents that get them on their children.
Hmm.
Typically, if you have a couple, a married couple, typically, let's say one of them, the husband or the wife, may put the term policy in place for their mortgage. So this is how it will work. Let's say
Woo!
if you have a husband and wife, and the wife say, "Hey, my husband is the breadwinner, and we owe 100,000. We have $100,000 left on this house, and we have a 20-year mortgage." Then they'll say, "Hey, I want a 20-year term policy for $100,000. So if something happens to him within this time frame, I'll be able to get that $100,000 and pay my house off."
Get out of here. I like that. I really like the idea of that because that's a win-win.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that is so outstanding. Um, so if I just wanted to buy that just to have it, just not even thinking about something may happen to my husband or whatever, I buy it and I can cash it in and use it to pay off whatever the heck I want, pretty much.
Well, what happens is it's a life insurance policy. So if you get a 20-year term policy on your husband, if
Mhm.
he passes within that 20-year time, then of course you're going to get that benefit. And you can use the benefit for whatever you want to use it for. Now, some people may put it in place for the mortgage, but you don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to use it for the mortgage. But please you have to understand that something would definitely have to happen to him in order for you to
Oh,
get
okay.
the payout.
So, all right. So I have to calm down.
It's a
Calm down.
life insurance policy.
Don't tell the people the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's a life
Okay.
insurance plan.
Okay. Yeah, it's for life insurance, Gail, and it's just putting well, you're purchasing it just in case. So it's just in case something happens, and if nothing happens, then that's great, and you still have that term life policy for the amount of time that is in going to be enforced for.
Yes, because think about it like this: you have 20 years left to pay on your home. So you getting a 20-year term policy. He's the one that's paying for this. If something happens to him, you probably can't afford it. You're probably gonna have to downsize, and you probably don't want to put yourself in that predicament. So you're going to say, "Hey, I'm going to put this 20-year term policy in place for the size of the loan that is left on our home, whether that's 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000. So if something happens to your husband within that 20-year time frame, you can take that money and pay your home off, and you don't have to worry about that. That's one expense you won't have to worry about being burdened with.
Okay, so I guess um then the index universal life policy, the whole life and that one that actually um builds the cash benefit, that's something that I could look at if I'm thinking down the road that I want to buy a policy or something to help pay for my kids' college. What would you recommend for that?
I would definitely recommend one of those because they have a savings component. See, the reason why people take out a term for the mortgage per se is because they're significantly cheaper. And the reason why they're cheaper is because of two reasons. It's because it's temporary and it's eventually going to expire. And it's also don't have a savings component whatsoever. You're just paying for coverage.
Okay, so you said the term life is well, the reason it's so attractive, you say, is less expensive than
Yes.
a lot of them.
Yes.
Okay.
It's less expensive because it's temporary and it's going to eventually expire.
Okay.
And it also doesn't have a savings component, so it doesn't build any cash value.
Okay. So you know from the jump exactly what you are getting.
Yes,
Well, you should know because some people are not that clear on it, and I'm sure you know that some um, agents will write the policy without their client fully understanding the whole deal. So
definitely need to understand what you're getting. And if you feel like you have any uncertainty, you need to ask. You
that's true.
definitely need to ask. And even if you have a policy at home, I definitely encourage people, if you have life insurance policies, read them. Read them. Don't sit up and have a policy 20 and 30 years from now, and then something happens to your mom, dad, or whoever you have this policy on, and it's too late because you're just now looking at it when they pass away. So you definitely want to read, and if you don't understand something, definitely reach out to whomever your agent is and ask them to explain that to you. You have that right.
Okay. So do you think that anyone could have too much insurance? I mean, a lot of people buy insurance policies for investment. So what do you think about that?
Yes, I don't never think that you can have too much insurance at
Okay.
all. I definitely don't think you can have too much insurance.
Okay.
Yes.
So, this is great information, and I hope that a lot of people have tuned in. I have no idea at this point, but even if they, even if they don't, I will share it and share it because this is very important information. And a lot of times we've been hearing it in our communities that our people don't have coverage, and and that's something else that we kind of talked about a little bit. But the affordability component to life insurance, what would you know advise us when we're thinking that we can't afford insurance?
Yes. I definitely will advise that you have to have you have to have humility. Sometimes our budget cannot afford us the type of coverage, as much coverage as we may desire. And you have to be okay with that. Sometimes people, if they cannot afford $100,000, they won't get anything at all because they
Really?
feel like, oh, 20,000 is not enough. Well, yes, it is, because if you don't have it saved, then it's more than what you have. Anything that you're getting that's more than what you have is definitely enough for that situation. So I definitely also want people to understand that the price has a lot to do with your health. You want to take life insurance out because in our community we have a very bad habit of waiting till we're diagnosed with cancer,
Oh,
um,
wow.
have had heart attacks. Sometimes it's events like that that occur, and that's when people want to buy life insurance. You have to keep in mind that that's when it's going to be more expensive
Mm-hmm.
because guaranteed issue policies are more expensive than fully underwritten life insurance policy. See, you can be a 50-year-old woman and you probably can get a traditional whole life policy for, let's say, $40,000. Now, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Depending if you're in your 50s, you probably can get a $40,000 policy probably easily within probably a $50 or $60 range, somewhere up in there. But if you're 55 and you have to go with the guaranteed issue route, you're probably going to be paying $60 for a $10,000 policy.
Wow. And see, for me, I was faced with that because when I talked to you, I wanted to get this $100,000 policy, and I'm like, whoa. and,
Yes.
and it does. You're right. You do have to humble yourself because I felt the sting of wow. So I cannot truly afford to do that at my age. That so I had to come to terms with okay, let me look at something that I can manage and be covered enough, more than enough actually. So
That's more important. That's more important. I try to tell people you have to think about what's more important. Having the life insurance policy in place that you can afford versus you having this big number. You have some people that are so caught up in 200,000 and 300,000. That's why they turn to the term policies because you can get a large face amount for a cheaper price, but they're not thinking about the big picture. The big picture is you're 40 years old. Anything can happen within 20 years, but you're
right.
probably still going to be alive. And that's 20 years of paying for something that you don't benefit from if you're still alive because you don't have no savings component. And now you have to start over and get a new life insurance policy.
Wow. So yeah, and I know in the past I did have a term life policy and I know that the amount of coverage was pretty high and I wasn't paying that much. So I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. But in reality, it wasn't at all. I was gonna wind up with nothing. So wow.
And I see that a
So that's
lot.
why yeah, and that's why I always felt that it's very important that we know exactly what we're doing when we're buying the life insurance. So when I met you and you explained everything to me so well, I thought, okay, he has to come on the show. He has to
Yes,
come on and talk about it and break it down for us because, as I said, a lot of people who they come up to even up to the job, they come up there they don't give you the information that you need to make a wise decision.
yes,
And you find out after you had it at least 2 years that that's something you shouldn't have purchased.
yes.
So,
And I definitely advise our people to definitely listen and not just listening to the cheapest rate, but listen to the details of the plan that you're signing up for. The cheapest
okay.
life insurance policy that you can get on this earth is something that's called an accidental death policy. You want to
Oh.
stay away from those because only the good Lord knows how we're going to leave this planet. So why would you
Mm-hmm.
pay for something that says that you have to die of an accident in order for the company to pay out? So that simply means that if you die of natural causes, your family is not going to get anything.
Oh, wow.
That's accidental death policy.
Wow.
You have to die of an accident in order for those to pay out.
That is really, man, people really got to pay attention to what these things are saying because you see, even that comes in the mail. We get a whole bunch of those in the
Oh yeah,
mail
the millions.
that's offering you accidental death coverage.
Yes.
Tons of them.
Even your bank.
Yeah.
Even your bank, even a lot of times the life insurance that's offered at the credit unions and banks, a lot of times you have to read those
Right.
because a lot of those are only accidental death policies. That's why anytime anyone who's listening, please understand and know that anytime you're 50 or 40 or 60 years old, you know it doesn't even sound right for you to be that age and paying $5 and $10 a month for life insurance. You already
Yeah.
know that doesn't even sound right.
Right. Yeah.
And what it is, it's a accidental death policy. Means that you will have to die of an accident. Because if you die of natural causes, your family will get nothing.
Okay, people. Keep that in mind. That is not cool. Do not buy that at
No,
all.
no.
Um, and what was I gonna ask you? Whew, I can't it was just in my brain. And it may come back to me. Um, but we're gonna I wanna know more about you. So how did you get started in
Yes.
insurance?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question because when I first of all, my grandmother was one of those people who definitely believed wholeheartedly in life insurance. That lady, I
Okay.
pick on her a lot. She went to be with the Lord in August of 2018. She had a life insurance policy
Hmm.
just about on anything walking in our family. And she lived a long time though. She lived a long time, and she cashed out on a lot of those policies of family members that had gone on before her. But of course, I didn't think about that coming up because where I'm from, especially in the black community, we are raised to not answer our front doors for two people. One of them is the Jehovah Witness. The second one is the insurance man. We was taught that. We was taught that when they come knocking on the door,
Uh-oh.
do not open, do not answer. So definitely growing up, I definitely didn't think that this was something that I would wind up being in. But what led me to think about coming into the industry was something that we just talked about, which is that accidental death policy. A classmate of mine, mom passed away, and we all knew that she had life insurance, but it didn't pay out. And I was curious because she was one of those type of women that had her affairs together. She had the 401k, she had all of that, and it just didn't connect for me. Well, long story short, that's when I found out that that's what she had too. It was an accidental death policy. So it didn't
Wow.
pay out. And I just thought to myself, I wonder how many people in our community or in the world rather that has this plan and just don't know any better. That was one thing that made me think about, well, maybe I should think about going into the industry, but I didn't. I just kept
Okay.
researching, and I was just because I like to read, I just did it to learn about it, to educate my own family and friends about it. Then
Okay.
I came from being a custodial manager. I was in the custodial field for the longest. I worked for the Escambia County, which is the county that I live in, Florida, and I was ready to try something new. I definitely wanted to step out and do something different. And
Okay.
I came across the gentleman, which is how you and I connected,
Oh
which
yeah.
is Malcolm M.J. Harris. And his videos was every time I turn around, I would see his videos, and I didn't know what he was doing at the time. But I told myself, I said, if I see one of his videos again, I'm gonna check him out. And I'm gonna see what it is that he's doing because he's a black man, he's successful, and I like his spirit. I like his energy. Vibrational
Yeah.
frequencies is everything to me. So it was like 2 weeks later, I came across a video of Malcolm again, and I checked him out, and I learned that the company that he had, which is National Care Financial Group, was a life insurance company. And that day, I made a decision to join. I made a decision to join. It's an independent company, so you start your own business. So it's not like you're working for him, but you start your own business. So I decided to give it a try. I studied and got my license, and the rest has been history.
That's outstanding. Now, that's outstanding that you saw um the need actually. That's what really prompted you to decide that you wanted to get into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's amazing. Now, oh, I do know the question that I have for you when you just said that you found out the lady had accidental life insurance or accidental death, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Um, do you guys have or sell just burial insurance? Because I have been seeing policies come to the mail that said burial, just burial. Like you can only use it just for that reason. Do you have policies like that?
We typically burial and guaranteed issue is a lot of the same.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. They that's why they have so many different terms. They may call it burial, they may call it final expense, or they may call it guaranteed issue.
Okay, I get what you mean. So yeah, that does fall into that final expense.
Yes.
Wow. Um, and the reason why I'm asking about that is because sometimes when people pass away, their families don't want to surrender the policies to put their people away, you know, and then what happens? It could be a big upset with the other, majority of the family members want to have some type of services and bury this person or cremate this person, and you guys say the wife or whomever is the beneficiary won't relinquish the policy. So, it turns into a nightmare.
Yes, it has a lot to do with who's left as the beneficiary or who's the policy owner. The person
Yeah,
that's the policy owner, they has the power.
that is crazy. That actually happened in our family. And I had never in my life seen anything like that. I had never had to do any kind of arranging for any services. And that was my first experience, and it was not pleasant
It
because
happens
you
in a
were
lot of
left.
families, far more than you know.
Yeah, that's what the funeral director was telling me. Oh, this happened at least once a week. And I was like, oh man.
Wow.
So that got me to, you know, people buy these type. I mean, I may buy them if they have help, but do people buy them simply to avoid this kind of thing happening? Do they buy burial?
Well, unfortunately, the only way you can avoid something like that is having your own policy on someone. That's really unless
Yeah.
unless if it's a mother, they have a lot of children. The only way she can avoid that is by making sure that all of their names are on there. So let's just say if you and I had the same mom, if Jamil Warren
Hmm.
and Gail Hall name is on there, Jamil cannot do anything without Gail. Gail can't do anything without Jamil.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see.
But if you leave it to one person, and that one person may be a little, maybe a little cuckoo, or they may be a little money hungry, that can go,
That's it.
that can go all wrong.
Yeah, because that's what the issue was. They wanted to keep the money. They didn't want to use the money to, take care of the person final, destination. So I'm just thinking, yeah, I was told, well, just get, burial insurance. That way you can always just be buried. But you're saying you have to put more than one person's name on there so the decision doesn't rest just on that one person.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, I like that better. I like that so much better. And it makes so much more sense
It does.
too, because if something happened to that person and there's nobody, there's no updated person in charge. So yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense.
That's true.
Okay, yeah. So so you grew up in Florida or
Born and raised, yes. Born and raised here in Pensacola, Florida.
okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, are you what are your plans? I know this is your company, you're doing really well. So what are your plans? Do you have anything, are you changing anything or expanding or
I definitely am expanding. I'm so busy with clients these days that I really haven't been taking the time to do things on social media as I more than I would like to. But I am expanding. I am hiring a marketing team to come in and to help assist me with putting more videos out, putting more content out because that's very, very, very important.
yeah.
I'm actually taking a call whenever we finish this interview because I'm going to now be adding Legal Shield to my agency as well. I'm very excited to learn about that because um, you can get access to an attorney, and a lot of times people need wills and estate planning and all of that nature. So that is something new that I'm adding on. I'm going to learn more about that so that I can offer that to my clients as well because that is something that's definitely a necessity in our community as
Right.
well.
I was going to ask you that too about the living will and estate planning and all of that because it just seems like it does go along with insurance. And since you're planning your life out, you may as well get that done too.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
Okay.
if you have multiple things, sometimes you may have someone they only have a life insurance policy and that's it. But if you have properties, you have life insurance policies, you have all these assets, then it's you have to get that stuff breaking up because
Right.
it's going to be a mess between the family
Yeah.
if some contingencies are not put in place.
Yeah, honey. I saw that firsthand and I was stunned because I'm thinking, who would behave like that at a time like this?
Oh,
But I know it happens. It definitely happens.
all
Oh,
the time.
yeah. Okay. Well, I thank you so, so much for coming on here. And I just wish you the best of everything. And I like that, your grandmother inspired you as far as having, making sure everybody's covered. And
Yeah.
actually, that's how the older people were in my family and my mother too, because my mom, she did exactly what you said. She had like term life policies. And I remember her saying that she just wanted to make sure everybody had something rather than nothing.
Correct.
And um and she said she did a lot of it too until uh we got to a certain age, and then she said, well, you can take it over or you can just get your own policy.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who was like that.
It's
And I
very important. It's very important, and I was very honored to do this. It's been a long time coming because we definitely were supposed to do the radio show some months back. So
yeah,
um, God's timing is the best timing. So this worked out just right.
yeah, you are so right. God's timing is the best timing. Absolutely. So, how you been keeping? Just busy because we can't really go anywhere except for essential.
Yes. Ironically enough, life insurance has gotten. It was already busy from the
Hmm.
top of the year. Okay. A lot of people, in the top of the year, people thinking about their business, they're trying to get their affairs in order. So we was going through that stage. Then Kobe Bryant died. That brought a huge awareness and a shocker on the world. And I guess it just had a lot of people thinking, like, oh, wow, this man was young and successful. He had it all. But, we just never know when something can happen to us. So a lot of people was
What?
looking then to get their life insurance policy in place. Because for some people, they have to have a personal awakening before they make a decision to put
Mm,
life insurance in place because everyone thinks that we're going to live forever. So sometimes it has to take a personal encounter. It has to hit home for them
right.
to make that decision. So the beginning of the year, then that happened with Kobe. Then people started to die down a little, and then next thing you know, this pandemic happened. And it hasn't been a joke with this whole
Right.
COVID-19 thing. So a lot of people start seeing the numbers go up of how many people was dying and was affected by this disease, and
Yeah.
they had no idea at all. So it definitely, again, it was another awakening for people to get their affairs in order. So it's been extremely busy for me.
Yeah. I know when I talked to you, you had like this marathon call list that you were just going to be busy all day from sun up to sun,
Yes,
beyond sundown, actually.
yes. It was months where it was from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday for a while.
Hard working young man. But
Yes.
that's so commendable, really. I
Thank you
really
so much, Gail. I really appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come in here. And I just want to ask you to stay healthy, stay wonderful as you are. And I know you're going to be successful because you're just doing your thing. Is
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm happy to have you, even though you're Malcolm's client, but you're my client too. So I'm definitely happy to have the relationship that we have built because again, this is an example. It just wasn't. I make relationships. I
yeah,
make friendships. It wasn't just one-time phone conversation with you and I. We have kept in contact ever since then.
yeah, that's right. That's right, everybody. This guy is pretty outstanding, and you want to have good relationships with your insurance person. You don't want to, you know, not like him or not like him or her, or you're not so sure about what they're telling you is true or not. You don't want that. You want
Or
to be
have to dial a 1-800 number and be on hold 30 minutes, and you have to talk to someone different instead of being able to go directly to the person that signed you up.
right. Well, that's very true. Those interpersonal relationships that were, back in the day. Now these companies are so huge. You're right. You're just a number, and
And
you
there's
may.
so many of them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna let you go so you can get to your. You have something else to do. I know you do.
Uh,
Um, yeah. So I just wanted to. Oh, before you go too, how can people reach out to you if they want to buy insurance from you?
yes, well, you can find me again. I'm Jamil Warren on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Jamil Warren. You can go to my website. That is yourvitalcare.com. That is www.yourvitalcare.com. There's a contact section where you can put your name and information in, and you can book an appointment with me, and I will call you and assess your needs.
Cool. Okay, we got it, and I'll make sure to post it too. when
I'm
I
looking forward to it.
Yeah, when I share the YouTube video, I'm definitely gonna put all your information in there.
Thank you so much, Gail. I really appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure.
Oh, for me too. Okay. Well, have a great night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.